Dallas Mavericks centric ones on my Bleacher Report stream yesterday. That's on the Clips channel if you want to go watch it. Today we'll look at some of the NBA related ones to see what you guys had to say. There's also some from a YouTube post over here. Let's start with the YouTube post one. Shout out to my community over here. The days of, this is from our guy Joey. Joey, you in here? The days of NBA dynasties are over because the lack of loyalty and how trades, business side of NBA, et cetera, work today. So we haven't had repeat champions since the Warriors did it in 2017. 2018. And in that 7-year stretch since, we haven't even had a team win multiple championships. You've had the Raptors, you've had the Lakers, you've had the Bucks, you've had the Nuggets, you've had the Warriors, you've had the Celtics. Who am I missing? And the Nuggets. Did I say the Nuggets? I'm missing one. So shout out to whoever I'm missing. Oh, we're factoring in this year's. We're factoring in this year's team. So Pacers, Knicks, Thunder. I wonder how much of that is a sign of things to come, or if it's just kind of luck and how it's played out that way. Like the Warriors almost certainly three-peat if they aren't destroyed by injuries going into that Raptors series. And that just completely and totally blows up their team. Right? I actually think there's a pretty strong case the Raptors repeat if Kawhi stays. Now, that kind of speaks to what Joey's saying, the lack of loyalty and stuff like that. There's a good argument the Celtics could have repeated, but they were going to be down 3-1 in that series to the Knicks, like without Tatum's injury. They were going to lose that game. So they were going to be down 3-1. Maybe you can make the argument they were good enough to come back in that series, but I don't know. The Lakers in 2021 looked poised to repeat, and then they just got destroyed by injuries. It's really been injuries. And I don't know if it's just been like this weird stretch of luck that we've had, bad luck, or if maybe it's a sign of, hey, these guys just get injured. There's just kind of like this injury bug now. And you just got to get lucky with injuries. You just got to hope your team's healthy enough. But yes, the business side of the NBA, the CBA and stuff, does seem to make it very difficult to build a team that can compete for 5, 6, 7 years. Those days do kind of feel like they're gone, unless you're incredibly smart. Now, I will say, and it's funny because I'm thinking about this, and we've said this about pretty much every team that's won recently, because I think it's been a while since we've had it. Whereas like when the Nuggets won, it was like, yep, they're poised to win forever. Like they're going to be a team that's winning for years to come. And now it kind of feels like they're on the verge of their window being weirdly close to being closed. Celtics, like last year, Celtics are the most clear-cut, obvious repeat favorites we've had in a long time. And a lot of that was true, but, well, we saw how that situation played out. The Thunder, it would be absolutely shocking. I 1,000% expect the Thunder to win the finals this year. The Thunder, it would be quite surprising if they only get one. Like that, I think something would have had to have gone drastically wrong if the Thunder only get one. So we'll see. We'll see. Austin says Malik Monk will be an all-star in the next 4 years. Okay. That's an interesting one. Malik Monk will be an all-star in the next 4 years. I mean, I doubt it. We see how hard it is for guards, especially in the West, to make the All-Star game. That might be Malik Monk's agent. Now, if he gets traded to an Eastern Conference team like Orlando or something, and he's like the starting point guard for the Magic, and, at this point in the Eastern Conference, Nick Smith Jr. is making All-Star cases because the conference is so fucking bad, then maybe. Caleb says the Wolves are going to ship out Rudy to clear up cap space. What do you think Rudy's value is across the league? I was thinking about this listening to a podcast a couple of days ago, and they were talking about Gobert and the way they were talking about him. I was like, is Rudy kind of just like a maybe one of those like shocking trade guys where it happens and you're like, whoa, what? And then you think about it more and it's like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense that they were shopping Rudy. But my question is though, is like, what team out there is one willing to give up value that even really makes sense in a Gobert trade, but also two, how could a trade even work to where it opens up salary cap relief for the Timberwolves? And also, then what's the Timberwolves' answer at center? Because it's not like they have Cat anymore. So if they were to do something like that, Gobert's at 35 for 3 years. Like, they're just gonna go Naz Reid starting center, and like they have to go out and find another center as well. Yeah. Telling you last stream Gobert to the Lakers. I mean, what does that even look like? Rudy to the Lakers would be. Yeah, I think Gobert. I think Gobert's just too important to what they have going on. You know, like if Cat were still on the team, maybe I could see it. Joey again. Luka will never win a chip. We've seen how hard it is to win a championship. Luka's 26. Like it feels so dismissive to just completely and totally write off him winning a championship at any point. Now I do think that the Lakers are in such an interesting spot. I think they're far away. Like I think a lot of things are going to have to go their way, but they are the Lakers and they fall ass forwards a lot of the times. But a lot of things have to go their way to build a legit championship contending team. Because look, the reality of the matter at hand is the Thunder are the class of the West now and for the very foreseeable, for the distant future. Like that, you have to stack yourself up to them, and the way this shit works, you'll get a year or two where it's like, oh yeah, remember Chet was dealing with that knee thing, and J-Dub was out, and Shea was out. Like that's gonna happen inevitably. Knock on wood, but that's just the truth. I don't. They lost in 5 games to a Timberwolves team that just got obliterated by the Thunder. I don't know. I really don't know. I think next year might just be a chalk year for them. They'll try to be good. But they do have a pathway to open up cap space pretty soon, though. Whatever that means in today's NBA. If the Spurs land Giannis, they'll make the Western Conference Finals next season. Yeah, I mean, that's possible. That's possible. Fox, Giannis, and Wemby. That's a pretty damn good team. Did you grow out of the city side that you say some country ass things? Wait, like what? I mean, I'm from Texas. I'll always say some country ass things. Wait, what did I say that was country? Yeah, I'm reading the hot takes. Yeah, I mean, I think if Giannis wants to go to San Antonio should make it happen. I think that'd be stupid as fuck to not let that happen, to not make that happen. The Pacers will play in 4 of 5 conference finals starting from last year's and win at least 1 chip. So that's saying the Pacers will make 2 of the next 3 conference finals at the very least, and will also win a chip over that time frame. I mean, I don't know. I put nothing past this Pacers team at this juncture. Nothing past this Pacers team. I've seen a video about Wemby saying that he grew an extra 3.5 inches and should be 6'7", 7'7". I've seen that. I mean, yeah, the Pacers, and the thing is it does kind of feel like they're built for long-term success because they've got a couple young guys. Like I love, you guys know this. I love Jarris Walker. And they're going to have to make some consolidation trades because they just have too many guys and they're going to have to pay. Like, there's some guys who will be moved in the offseason. I also wouldn't be all that surprised. Like, remember, they took the swing for Siakam. That was a big deal. They took a swing on Halliburton. Like, I really wouldn't be that surprised if the Pacers make some big trade in the offseason. What that looks like, I'm not sure. But that really wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't shock me at all. I posted a Twitter take on hot take. No, I'll read Twitter hot takes here in a bit. I'm just scrolling through all the Mavs ones. All right, these are all Mavs ones at this point. All right, what's the Twitter ones? Michael wanted to know my Timothy Chalamet take. I love him. What's the hate about Timmy? What's the hate about Timmy? He just does his thing and chills. And he's a huge basketball fan, and he's a millionaire, and he's dating Kylie Jenner. Like, I think we should all give him a round of applause. The Hoot Father said Jalen Brunson will never win a championship as the number one option. I'm on that Becky Hammond stuff. Now, it should be noted that this was before last night's game. It's so insane to me that Becky Hammond got that much shit for that take because yeah, I don't think it's crazy to think that. The history of small guards winning championships is very, the list is very short. You're talking about Isaiah Thomas for the Pistons. I mean, even Steph Curry. Steph Curry's taller than Jalen Brunson. Like, you're talking a very small list of players. Dismissing a player entirely is wild, especially as a female. Doc, what does that even mean? What a strange chat. What does that even mean? Also, it's not like Becky Hammond is like one of the most respected basketball minds there is. Like, can't you say the same? Like dismissing a player entirely is wild, especially as someone who's sitting here on YouTube right now. Like, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference between me saying something and Becky Hammond? Do you think players will start to emulate Tyrese Halliburton's jump passing? They might try. Reddit Mav says, I think basketball is good. That's a hot one. B-Dot 1 hour ago. Anthony Edwards will never be a top 5 player due to his up and down motor and his lack of playmaking and consistent scoring. I think Anthony Edwards could be a top 5 player. Only because that 5th player spot is pretty fucking wide open. But he is only 23. Like, it is kind of crazy. Ant's only 23 years old. It feels like we've had a lot of Anthony Edwards for him being as young as he is. You know, he's been in our life a lot for a 23-year-old. So to say 4 or 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years from now, I think he could be a top 5 player for sure. Giannis is not traded, but Dame is, says sports fan Jack. Lakers make an out-of-left-field trade that no one expects. Well, we know the Lakers are capable of that. I'm trying to think about what is I mean, that's the thing, a trade that no one expects. Could the Lakers, like, make a swing for, we talk about bigs for them, but could the Lakers make a big swing for, like, a wing-oriented player? Bam? I really don't think the Heat would trade Bam. Especially for anything the Lakers would be offering. But back from your test, damn, you must have killed it that fast. Yeah, like a Trey Murphy type, yeah. Sabonis. How does that even work contractually, though? I guess you could get there with, like, Reeves, Rui. I mean, you could get there, I guess. 43 mil. Rui Hachimura, Reeves, and Maxey. I mean, does that get you there? That gets you there almost perfectly. That's such a shitty return. That's so shit. What picks do they have available to trade? 2023 and then like a swap. Porzingis is one that I'm Porzingis is an interesting one, actually. I've thought about it. I've heard people suggest it, but I've thought about it a little bit because you could get there like Porzingis for Rui, and then have Maxey sent to like Brooklyn for shit. That gets you there. So, but the question though is, this is fucking hilarious trade. The question though is, what are you trading first in this? One, are you adding picks if you're the Lakers? Surely, right? But also two, I think it's bad, like putting your eggs in the Kristaps Porzingis bucket, and also basket, and also Luka and KP reuniting would be pretty fucking funny. Pretty funny. But I think it could be like a wing. I could see the Lakers making a play for a wing. I don't know who it could be, who's on the market. Herb Jones. Could they like sneak into a Herb Jones lottery? Thoughts on people named Gavin? Just thinking about Gavin Newsom. Gavin Sheets. Are there any NBA players named Gavin? Icarus, Lively will continue to be a more valuable player than Markkanen. Okay. I mean, has that been a debate? That's just like such a random player. I don't know about that, to be honest with you. I think that's disrespectful to Lowry. I think that's a little disrespectful to Lowry, who's just been on a shitty team for a long time. What if Lowry's that sneaky player the Lakers get? They don't have the pieces to make that happen. Blazers will be in the playoff hunt next season. Guard, play leap. I mean, you can make the argument they were in that hunt this year for a while. I mean, they were in the play-in hunt, which does that put you in the playoff hunt? If you're in the play-in hunt, are you in the playoff hunt, or is that a different thing? So would you trade Gaffer, Najee, and Hardy for RJ Barrett? Nick on the text line said Locked On Raptors came up with that one. We literally just talked about that. I said no. When KP came out of that interview about how he tried to sabotage the Mavs playoffs, now he didn't say that verbatim, but he was basically like, yeah, I was acting like a little baby. Which he was. Yeah, I think the Blazers will be good. I think the Blazers are another team. That's why I just fucked around with the KD one. I don't think they do something like that. But if there's a pathway for like, you're trying to get off the Jeremy Grant money, and the Suns are like, hey, Portland, like we just had a meeting with KD and he put y'all's name. He put y'all on the list. And the Blazers are like, okay, what about like Rob Will and Jeremy Grant? And maybe a pick. Maybe if the Blazers have picks to throw around. No, you didn't get banned. You're good. You're good. Yeah, Mavs, Chris Paul to vet man. Hell yeah, let's go. Claxton for Vincent, Maxey, and a 2031 first. The cheaper of Trey Murphy or Herb Jones for Reeves in a swap. Connect for Goga in a second, and Keon Ellis for a swap. So in this make-believe fairy tale land world, the Lakers are ending their offseason with Trey Murphy, Nick Claxton, Goga, and Keon Ellis. All right. Kings trade Sabonis. What does the Sabonis trade market even look like? You know what? Let's fire it up. Let's go. Trade proposals, players involved, Sabonis. Let's see what our good friends over on Fanspo are cooking up today. Let's do top this week. All right, let's do it. Let's see. Go crazy. Go stupid. Sabonis to the Bulls. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What the fuck? Okay. All right, so the Kings are blowing it up. Malik Monk to the Magic. Okay, there's almost too much going on for me to even process what I'm looking at. So the Magic are getting Anthony Simons, Vucevic, Malik Monk, and Thibault. The Blazers are getting Suggs, Herter, Isaac, Julian Phillips, and a future first. Oh, their own pick back. Their own next year. Damn, the Bulls have the Blazers pick next year? From what? How do they have that? The Kings are getting Jeremy Grant, Cole Anthony, Lonzo, and Goga, and 4 picks in this year's draft. And the Bulls are getting Sabonis, Anthony Black, and Tristan da Silva. So I think we have a rare one. The Magic don't do this, correct? Simons, Vucevic, Malik Monk, and Thibault for a late first this year, but they love Suggs. Suggs, Isaac, Cole Anthony, and Goga, and Anthony Black, and Tristan da Silva. The Magic aren't doing that. The Blazers are getting off the Jeremy Grant contract. They're also trading Anthony Simons, and they're also trading the 11th overall pick in this draft to get Suggs, basically. I'm not so sure they do that. The Kings, I guess, probably do this, right? Why do the Bulls want Sabonis? The Bulls are paying a pretty hefty price for Sabonis here. But Sabonis to the Celtics. Here we go. This has 28 comments. Let's go. This one's probably juicy. Warriors get Anthony Simons. Interesting. Celtics get Sabonis and somehow save $30 million. The Blazers get KP, Sam Hauser, Buddy Hield, and 2 firsts. Kings get Drew, Robert Williams, Moody, and 2 firsts. Why are the Blazers doing this exactly? They get a couple firsts, KP. Is that enough for Sabonis? Drew, Robert Williams, Moody, and a couple shitty picks from the Celtics? Now, this actually makes some sense for the Celtics. Why would the Celtics say yes? Well, they're getting Sabonis, but they're also saving $29 million in this process. Blazers really need another big, TBH. Okay. So basically, the point that we're trying to make is what the fuck does a Sabonis trade look like? Sabonis to the Heat. Oh, here we go. Bam's on the Lakers. The Lakers get DeMar and Bam. Okay. The Heat gets Sabonis, Rui. The Heat get Sabonis, Rui, Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect. The Kings get Terry Rozier, Austin Reeves, Max Kleber, Kyle Anderson, Jaime Jaquez in 3 picks. So the Lakers give up 1 pick in Reeves and Rui, and I guess Connect, and get Bam and DeMar. All right. Shit for everyone but LA. What a surprise. Like, where is Sabonis to New Orleans? Wait, who says no? Sabonis to the Nuggets. Kings get, all right, I already tell you the Kings say no. The Kings get Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton, and Peyton Watson. The Nets get DeMar, Zeke Naji, and a first. And the Nuggets get Sabonis. Hold on, I got to take this. Put your diapers on. That's all I'll say. So Nuggets gets a bonus for a future first, Peyton Watson and Michael Porter Jr. This makes absolutely no sense for Denver. How would Sabonis and Jokic play alongside each other? Does that not make a lot of sense for Denver? You get off the Najee contract, Michael Porter Jr. I mean, all right. Well, I don't even know how we got to that. Spurs will be a mediocre playoff team. Yeah, I don't know if the Spurs, unless they get Giannis, I don't know if the Spurs will be like a huge playoff contender, unless Wemby's the best player in the league next year, which is always possible. The Atlanta Hawks will make it to the finals after landing Daniel Gafford. So if you guys remember, it's always been my Charlotte Hornets, but I've also always, not this year, but in years past, I've also always grossly overrated the Atlanta Hawks. Okay? I've always grossly done it entering seasons. I think the Hawks could be an interesting team this offseason. And yeah, I think there's a world in which they're really good next year. Absolutely. Like, I'm a big believer in Jalen Johnson. You've got most improved player, Dyson Daniels, his continued development. You've got Risha Shea, year 2. They've got 2 first-round picks this year. They have pathways to be aggressive. Okongwu did some interesting things last year. Like, I think their team could be pretty fucking good in a conference that's probably going to be horrific. Like, I don't think we're processing how actually shit the Eastern Conference will be next year. That's why I'm like, especially if Giannis gets traded west. If Giannis gets traded west, it's like, it's why if I'm Cleveland, I'm like, dude, just run this back. We might just cakewalk next year. If I'm Indiana, I'm like, oh my God, we're going to make the finals 2 years in a row. Yeah, the Hawks are a competitive team with Jalen Johnson. Pacers need a rebrand at the very least. Move away from the yellow. It looks horrid. Man, a lot of people hate the Pacers jerseys. Bring back the pinstripes. I'm okay with that. The Pistons are making the Eastern Conference Finals next year, and Giannis won't be traded this summer or during the season. I definitely, if I had to bet money on what Giannis does, I think I would just bet on him being on the Bucks next year. I just think it'll be too complicated and too much going on. I think he'll probably end up staying. Pistons making the Eastern Conference Finals next year. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things are on the table. A lot of things are on the table when it comes to the Eastern Conference. Can I send a Kobe White to the Mavs trade? Yeah, put it in here. You can't send links, though. Oh, my God. Is he in here? We're just going to skip past this one. Ant Edwards will have John Wall's career, no titles, but may not be as injured. John Wall's career. Interesting. It's an interesting comparison. From at Luca Clears MJ. Who's more likely to get traded, Giannis or KD? Oh, KD getting traded feels like a foregone conclusion. Rockets Pistons is the next NBA Finals. That one's out there. Paul George in pick 3 gets traded for Lowry in pick 5. Jared McCain becomes an all-star. Oh, I did this yesterday. I think the league should implement a system that encourages owners to spend money to improve their team. For example, similar to how if you are above the second apron for 3 seasons in a 5-year period, your draft pick automatically drops to the last pick in the draft. If you are below a certain spending threshold 3 to 5 years in a row, your pick automatically falls to the bottom of the lottery. Wait, hold on. Is that actually a rule? For example, similar to how if you are above the second apron for 3 seasons in a 5-year period, your draft pick automatically drops to the last pick in the draft. Wait. That's a rule? I actually did not know that. Wow. And does that remain true if you've traded that pick? So if you trade your picks in the future, say, fuck you. I'm going to be a second apron team forever. Fuck you. I'm going to trade you a pick, and guess what? Before my pick conveys, I'm going to be a second apron team 3 times. I honest to God did not know that was a rule. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm dude, get rid of that rule. That rule's so stupid. I agree with your take here. That punishing teams that spend money on their roster is actually so stupid. Like, the more this plays out, the more obvious it is. The Pacers are the Spurs dynasty reincarnated. I mean, they don't have a Tim Duncan. As much as I like Tyrese Halliburton, there's no way he's going to be a top 7 all-time player by the end of his career. Pacers over Thunder in 6 games. Indiana will limit their turnovers and hit enough threes to win it all in a shocker. Now, if I go look at our guy Dallas Nation's page, is he a hater of the Oklahoma City Thunder? What are your thoughts on my proposed rule pushing teams that don't spin on the roster? I think MLB should do it too. I think there's I don't think it's as big of a problem in the NBA as it is in like baseball for sure. There's just times when you're in a rebuilding phase and it doesn't make sense to pay a lot of guys on your roster a lot of money. I do think they should get rid of rules that punish you for spending money on your team. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's the stupidest fucking thing in the world. Like, what do you mean? I'm going to have to break up the team that I made because of the stupid ass rules that I can't spend money on my own team that I built? Like, how does that make sense? Broussard said OKC could be the new Spurs. Yeah, OKC is more close to the Spurs dynasty, I would say. Thunder for lifer. All right, so we got a Thunder fan here. The OKC team has the best chance at going back-to-back as champs with where the league is currently since the Warriors. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier. We've said this about every team that's won the championship in the last 7 years. The top 2 East teams will be forced to make moves due to the second apron, and most other teams are either not ready to contend, aren't good enough, or have serious injuries. I'm assuming when he says the top 2 East teams, I think he's talking about the Celtics and the Cavs. I don't think he's talking about the Knicks and the Pacers. Yeah, I mean, this Thunder team is very much built to survive. And I've heard takes about this recently because we've always talked about this, and I've talked about this, how the Thunder need to consolidate their assets, so on and so forth, and they need to make trades to get better. I still partially believe that, but it is clear and obvious that Presti and the Thunder are just kind of ahead of the curve. Like, they just know where this league's headed. They understand how the salary cap rules and the second apron is going to dictate how teams are built for the foreseeable future. And they are putting themselves in a position very smartly to have avenues and pathways. To flesh out their roster outside of paying guys $30, $40, $50 million. OKC has a lot of picks, but not really quality picks. Yeah, but when you're going to be in their position where you already have your top end guys, you really just need, let's say they have a draft where they have 3 picks in the first round, which they will. 3 picks in the first round. If one of those guys hits, you're good. Like, that's it. You're good. One of those guys hits and is in your rotation, you're good. You've succeeded. That allows you to move off of Dort, maybe move off of Caruso in the future, Wiggins, Joe, Hartenstein, whatever. The era of hoops is the best ever. This era of hoops is the best ever and the best basketball ever, but it's the least enjoyable to watch. Lack of good storylines, frustrating refereeing, uniform play. Do you think people really don't watch because of uniforms? I mean, I'm sure there's some out there, but do you think it's like a decent enough portion that it's like something to take seriously? Their pick situation could also backfire. Teams know they don't have the roster spots to sign every rookie, so teams can almost force them to trade for cheap to let those picks go to waste. The thing though is like teams will always value picks. So if the Thunder say, "Hey, we can't draft 3 guys next year. We're trading 2 of these picks. Like, come get them," there will be teams lining up, and that's all you need. You just need them. You just need 2 teams to want them, and then you have a bidding war. That's it. Oh, uniform play equals everyone plays to say, "Oh, I'm a fucking idiot." I very much disagree with that stance that every team plays the same. I don't know how. I don't know how that can be your conclusion watching these teams play. Like all 4 conference finals teams that we saw play entirely different brands of basketball. Like entirely different. Like even if you extend beyond that, I mean, I think every team plays differently. I play sports with a 199. Best case scenario, Laker trade, realistically. I mean, I actually don't think Claxton would be that great for them. I think it is. I think it's a Gafford trade, but where you're not giving up Reeves. Like, I think that's it. Keep telling yourself that basketball ever bullshit. Massive developmental. Keep telling yourself that basketball ever bullshit. I don't know what that means. The lack of good storylines. I think that's possibly because we are in kind of a weird transition period in the league right now. Like we're in a weird transition period. Yeah, ESPN obviously, but their league is in a transitional period, and it is kind of this awkward. Like, yeah, ideally we would kind of be, hey, it's a twilight of LeBron and Steph and KD. Like, we love these guys, we're gonna celebrate them, but it's the twilight. Like, we're focused, but those guys are all still really good, and so they still take up so much of our time that we haven't spent a lot of time talking about the younger. But hey, I know we like the parody. We like that there's no dynasties, but those create storylines. When it's 7 different champions in 7 years, it's tough to follow really for a very casual viewer. And so when you have the common enemy, when you have, oh, this team's won 2 in a row, we can't let them three-peat, and like all of the NBA community at large bands together against that team, that's a fun storyline. Refereeing's always bad. I mean, that's just the storyline part. I agree with, but I think a lot of that is just kind of this weird transitional period we are in. Kyrie retires in 3 years / after his next contract. I mean, he'll be like 35, 36 by then. It's not that crazy. People saying finals, like a Pacers OKC finals, for example, is bad for the sport, when in reality it shows that as a small market, you can build a championship level roster with patience and good moves. Shows that now anyone can win a title and not just big markets. Agreed. And it's funny because this has always really kind of been the case. Like, you look at the history of the league, and I know it's the Lakers, right? But small markets have historically done pretty well in the NBA. Like, the Spurs built a dynasty. It's a big. San Antonio is a big market. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of sports market, it's not very big. If that means you don't consider San Antonio a big basketball, a big like NBA market. You've had teams like, Denver, and again, we're talking about if you're a city that has a sports team, you're a big city. So when we say small market, but yeah, Milwaukee just won. Indiana's got a great chance to make the finals. OKC's probably going to win the finals. Celtics, Lakers have the most for a reason, though. Yeah, but they have the most for a reason because they won a lot of theirs at a completely different era of the league. Like, they won a lot of them when there was like 8 fucking teams in the league. The Celtics have, what, 2 in the last 30 years? Yeah, I mean, if you have, I mean, realistically, a lot of it is luck. A lot of it is either drafting a superstar, transcendent level superstar, or getting one via a trade, and a homegrown one at that. How many did the Lakers have in the last 30 years? Back to 95, 6, right? Haven't they had 6 in the last 30 years? The 3-peat with Kobe and Shaq, Kobe's 2, and then the bubble one. So 6. Is that the most over that stretch? Has to be, right? I mean, and you've also had big market teams that just fail every step of the way. Brooklyn, the Clippers. I mean, the Knicks have been pretty fucking terrible for the last 30 years. Philly. The greatest possible starting 5 ever. LeBron, Clay, Kawhi, KD, Shaq. LeBron, Clay, Kawhi, KD, Shaq. I mean, that's a really good team. Best ever. Why Clay over Steph? I don't know. I don't know. One of the wings in New Orleans will be traded to a contender and be the last piece to a championship team. So I am kind of like, what is the, what's the incentive the Magic have to trade for, or the Magic, Jesus. The incentive the Pelicans have to trade away Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, both guys who have very friendly contracts, both guys who are good on any team. I don't really know what the incentive is there unless you're getting blown away in a trade, in which case, sure. But, I mean, the Zion situation's become much more fluid now. But, I mean, they're still going to try and be good next year. The Pelicans will be, at least. At least I think so. They traded away Ingram, but they probably weren't going to bring him back anyways. I mean, I'm if some team wants CJ McCollum to get in, like, don't forget they have DeJounte Murray on their team. And that, I know it's easy to forget, but they do have DeJounte Murray. A team would give up 2 or 3 firsts for Herb. Yeah, I could see a team looking at Herb Jones and be like, I think that's the last guy we need. Dame a top 3 shooter of all time? I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's very reasonable. People have buried Boston way too early. I agree with this. I do agree with it. Like, they're probably going to take a step back next year. But also, would it be that surprising if, it's not like Drew was a step slow this year. KP is very unreliable. If they trade those guys in an effort to save money, how much of a step back does that really make them take? Especially if they're getting, like, rotation players in return. Hold on, I got to take this call again. Yeah. No, we're good. Everything's all good. Everything's all good. It's just something. It's hat related. I'm having someone pick up the hats from the store, and having a difficult time finding a store. That's the problem. Danny Ainge is a bottom 5 GM in the league. The Jazz have done nothing besides draft in the mid-first round and get guys who suck and not meaningful change the direction of their franchise. Could have gotten a haul for Lowry and didn't move him, and they bottomed out anyways. Paul with the $2. Adam Silver looking for a second wire transfer. He's just going to have to wait. Things are slow right now inside the Bias headquarters. Danny Ainge is a bottom 5 GM in the league. This feels a little... I do think maybe it's a little overrated. Like, people talk about the Jazz. There was a time where people were like, yeah, you're going to have to build teams like the Jazz and the Thunder. It's like the Jazz. It kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, who are we talking about? Jeremy Grant. When the Pelicans or the Blazers had a chance to trade Jeremy Grant and didn't do it. I do kind of feel like Lowry still has a lot of value. But yes, when it was a couple years ago, I was like, teams would trade 5 first-round picks for Lowry. You should have just done it then. Like, realistically speaking. Bottom 5, though, is a little crazy. Portland will make the playoffs next year. I do think Portland will probably be a lot more aggressive than you expect this offseason, and they'll be a good team. Kyrie to the Lakers soon. We're still doing that? This is that Japanese soldier still fighting in the war meme right here. We're still doing that? OKC versus Pacers finals. OKC in 4. Could see that. The Hawks will be a top 3 team next year. Is that going to be the play? Is that going to be we're going to be all in on the Hawks? LeBron doesn't care about winning anymore. I think that's a little ridiculous to say. Schroeder's a Mav. I would love that. Lakers are the chicken nuggets of the NBA. Not sure I understand that. Fuck Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Love you, Kyrie. Not a hot take, but Knicks overpaid for Mikal Bridges. They thought Mikal Bridges was the answer. And teams overpay when they think that. Anthony Davis is the best defender the league has ever seen. I respect it. The Mavs don't make it to the Western Conference Finals in 2022 without Davis Bertans and Frank Ntilikina. Yes, true. That was bold opening up the spam. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with this. I don't think they win that Sun series without Frank Ntilikina. Full stop. I've said that before. And I think his on-off numbers in that series were garbage. Like, I think they lost his minutes significantly. But I thought he was the only guy who did anything defensively against D-Book and Chris Paul. And even that small disruption, I think, changed the series in a major way. So I do agree with that. Frank Ntilikina wasn't a bad player. He just lacked the right situation to be put in. No, he was fucking terrible offensively. Like, it's just, in today's NBA, that wasn't going to fly. Wemby isn't that good of a defender. He's only looked at that way because of his stocks. I'm not wrong. Yes, you are. Slightly, you will gain 47 pounds in Europe. Thus, what the hell? Slightly, you will gain 47 pounds in Europe, thus finally unlocking full UNC status. Plus, you will again start to rant about the transportation system in America after the trip, even further pushing your UNC status levels to transcend UNC maximum capacity. You've gone too far. We're now flying way too close to the sun. Why is my take in the spam? Bill Shid. That's Bill Shid in the spam. That's hilarious that they just take Bill Shid comments immediately to spam. How do you gain 47 pounds in Europe? If anyone's ever traveled to Europe, you know you actually lose weight in a European trip. Even if you eat a bunch. You lose weight on European trips because the food is prepped better and you also walk a lot more because the cities are much more walkable, right? And you're doing touristy shit, to be fair. You know, you're walking around, you're going, like, you're doing touristy shit. It's not like you're just sitting around. So, you know, now everything else I kind of agree with here, right? I will come back and rant about transportation, absolutely. That goes without being said. I do that anyways, but that goes without being said. Portions are humane as well. That's also true.